rocking into the free world. Yeah, welcome y'all to CHGO Wrestling. Yes, it's an exciting time. WrestleMania is right around the corner, and we are excited about it. I am Big Dave from CHGO Bulls. That is our special advocate over here. That is Greg Boysen. DJ Sarah Bear, Sarah on the ones and twos.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yes, that's exactly what DJs do.
I love this intro music.
You feeling it, huh? Got you ready, right? Got you ready, right? Shout out to Sean Anderson, man. Sarah's filling in for him. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We have our bracket. I found out from Katie that it is illegal for a sports show to not do a bracket show.
It is.
It is illegal. You will be jailed if you do not do one. So guess what?
The internet and everything.
That's it. That's what I heard. That's what I've been told. So guess what? Top wrestling moments. We got 64 of them, baby. We are going through it. I'm sure it took him 5 minutes to come up with this list. And the list.
A little more work than that.
a little more.
And some post-editing too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we got it for you, and we will get into it, and it's going to be fun. But first, we've got to talk about John Cena. Been the biggest thing going since John Cena has officially turned heel. And since he has turned heel, he hadn't spoke. But now, in the past 2 Raws that have both been overseas, John Cena has grabbed the microphone and does what even the people who hate John Cena, they are forced to respect about John Cena, because when he's on that microphone, he is super legit. We've never seen super heel Cena on the microphone. We got our chance to see it. I don't feel like we were disappointed, Greg.
No, I'm digging heel John Cena. Like, it's to the point where I'm like, all right, I know who I'm rooting for at Mania. Like, I want more of this. Yeah. Like, and you know, when he came out 2 weeks ago for the first time, he said a lot of things that, like, he wasn't wrong about. Like, and that's what makes the best wrestling promos, are the ones that are either completely ridiculous or the ones that have some truth to them. And he has some truth just about the fan reaction and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, in the real world, we know, you know, he's not believing most of that stuff.
No, we get it.
But for the character, he's spot on. Yeah. He's spot on. The WWE universe, the fans have been taking him for granted, have been taking advantage of him and want more. Now he's like, screw it.
Yeah.
You're on my time. And I'm here for it. You know, it was kind of like a little bit like, okay, how is he going to pull this off? You know, there were reports that he was going to shave his head and grow a mustache or a beard,
put the suit on,
put a different theme music out there. Like, no, it's so far, you know, I don't know. It's intriguing for me to see where they take this. So they've just gone, they went from, okay, Cody versus Cena, that's probably just going to be a one-time attraction.
Sure.
To now where I'm like, I'm kind of interested to see how this evolves. Does it go beyond WrestleMania? Does it carry out through the years? It's supposed to be Cena's last year. Does, you know, what's the arc? How does it end?
Yes.
Does he retire as a bad guy, or does he have a epiphany at the end? And like, it just be interesting to see where it's going. And considering, like, I'm glad that they have this to cancel off the ridiculousness of the Chad Gable story that's going on now.
But that's without ridiculousness,
right?
But yes, I agree with you.
Totally silly.
It is. It's very silly, but it's
silly. It's silly. I love silly in my wrestling, but I want silly that I actually care about.
Ooh, that's the bar right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make me care about it.
Make you care. I get that. Cena, I thought, did a phenomenal job. I mean, he walked out there, didn't change anything, and told them why he didn't change anything. Basically told them, you get nothing.
Get nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And you will like it. You will buy these shirts and like it. And I will make fun of you for buying these shirts and liking it. And I mean, he leaned all the way in. It felt like he was getting out stuff that he had been trying to get out for 15 years because he hadn't had this true opportunity to be this full heel. And honestly, the big, huge stars have had that opportunity. Even a Hulk Hogan, screw him. Even, Stone Cold, blur that line all the time, but then he got a chance to go with Mr. McMahon,
The Rock,
the Hollywood Rock.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Even Bret Hart got a run.
Yes, he did.
And Lex Luger. And,
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, they've all done it. And this is probably something they should have done a long time ago.
Agreed.
But, dollars and cents do the talking most times. I mean, it's just like we said about Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
For years, you're like, Roman Reigns needs to be a heel, and they refused to do it. And then they finally did it. It was like, look how good this is.
Let him be hated.
Maybe we know what we're talking about.
Just a little bit. I saw people complaining.
No.
On
the internet?
Shocked.
Get out of here.
Shocked. Wrestling?
Must have been that dark web people I keep hearing about.
Yeah, I had to go.
Doesn't happen on the real.
Oh,
internet.
no. I had to go deep into the interwebs to find people complaining, sir. But people about Cody Rhodes and his role in this, because they were upset in that first encounter. How come Cena didn't tear him apart? And in that second one, how come Cena didn't roast it? Oh, they're trying to protect him and do all the other stuff. I don't feel that way. I feel like they're telling the story. And I think when Cena became a heel, when you do stuff like that, for me personally, it allows you leeway. And I let you finish what you're trying to do, because you've done something nobody really saw coming except for awesome people like myself. But when that happened, I think people just need to allow them to have that story finish out and be told. Because Cody Rhodes, we know how good he is on a microphone. We know how good he is as a wrestler. He's the champion for a reason. So I think they should allow that to happen. And I think it will just happen when it gets closer to Mania.
Yeah, you got to build.
Yes.
People want instant gratification for everything. They want the 3 parts of your story, beginning, middle, end, all in one.
Yeah.
Nice little gift wrapped short segment.
Microwave.
That's not how this works. There's a almost 2-month period in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. You've got to build that up. You've got to give people a reason to tune in to Netflix every Monday.
That's a fact.
Like, you need to build the story, because I want to see Cena get his comeuppance, or I want to see Cena, finally to get his hands on Cody. Well, you're going to have to wait to Las Vegas.
That's it.
You're going to have to plop down the money and get that Peacock subscription to see it. That's pro wrestling. That's always been the they hook you with the story, then you got to pay for the finish.
Yes.
That's all they're doing. You got to build it up.
That's all they're doing.
If you give me Cena and Cody Rhodes, throwing fists at each other right off the bat, it's going to lose how special it might be.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania, you save it. You save it. That's why when you go to a fancy restaurant, they don't bring you out that steak right off the bat.
That's true.
You get the salad, you get the potato.
Yeah.
You got a real fancy place. They bring you the little lemon sorbet to cleanse your palate. That's when you know you're in a good place.
Greg's fancy. Do it. He's eating good, eating right.
So they don't bring you the steak.
Yes.
With the first plate.
That's true.
They let you build.
That's
to
right.
It.
Yeah. And then make the presentation.
Exactly.
Which will
it's
be
all about the experience.
WrestleMania.
And that's what, the steak, the perfectly cooked steak will be in April in Las Vegas.
For those 2 days.
Yeah.
And it should be amazing. And I'm expecting it to be awesome. And I'm really, truly expecting it to be great. What they've built up is something people really, truly want to see. And because we've never seen it before. And you're right in your point of it changes what the art can be, what the finish can be. It just gives you so many different lanes to go down.
And if you think this story is only going to ever involve Cena versus Cody, you're silly.
Oh, no. The Rock's in it for a reason.
There's going to be
Travis Scott's in
branches.
it for a reason.
Like, if it takes off like they hope it does, you're going to start seeing people pick sides and people get teams and just like they did with the Bloodline for 3 years they got out of that.
Baby.
So
3 years, still going
to the point where even you can build it to where you have something still, some meat on the bone, and when Cena steps away, because you've involved these other people, that storyline can continue, even though Cena is now, wrestled his last match, but now these people can carry the story out beyond that.
It's true.
As long as it's drawing money.
It's true. As long as it's drawing money.
Right.
That part, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. And it's going to draw money, at least at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, they're going to make something. They're going to get something. That's why they're on a tour right now across so many other countries, because it's about that cash and getting it ready. So I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. We're going to talk about it some more as it goes. But right now, it's time to get into the brackets, ladies and gentlemen. The top 64 moments in wrestling. Not just WWE, not just AEW, but wrestling, period. All right? It wasn't easy. I was teasing Greg saying he came with 5 minutes because his knowledge of wrestling is ridiculous. But I'm sure it wasn't easy to come up with that 64. I immediately thought 32, and you were like, nah, we can do 64. We
could have done a couple hundred and still been like, man, we're leaving this one out. We're leaving this one out. Right. And then there were ones I forgot that you reminded me of. And then it was tough. Like, well, which one do I cut out of here? And it was tough. So like we could literally probably do one of these 64 moment brackets, like every year for like 5-6 years and not repeat the same moment. Like we could do a whole new 64 next year.
That's true. It could be a thing,
but it's fun. It was a lot of fun to like research this and relive some of those moments. And we've got some tough decisions to make.
Tough decisions. So this is how the voting is going to go, guys. Round 1 and round 2, the CHGO wrestling crew, myself, Greg, Sean, Mario, and Jay will vote about who moves to the next round. When it gets to the Sweet 16 and moving on to the Elite 8 and to the Final 4 and the championship, that will be voted on by you guys. You guys get a chance to vote every single time about who is going to move on and eventually what is the greatest moment in wrestling history in your wonderful opinions. So we're going to get you all started. Sarah Bear, do you have a favorite moment in wrestling history? You can say anything.
You know,
come on, you can do it.
I will say I watched not the last WrestleMania. It was the one after that.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the women's matches.
Oh, yes.
And I wouldn't say it was a favorite moment, but I'm new to all this, and I really enjoyed their outfits.
There it is. Hey, that's part of it too.
That was honestly, I was excited to just be like, what's the next girl's like theme? Like, what's her outfit? Like that's
the pageantry.
I like that.
It's part of it. It's part of it, man. The pageantry, the spectacle, the actual blood and violence, all of it makes up this wonderful thing called wrestling that we truly enjoy. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's start with the first region, the Rowdy Roddy Piper region, as Sarah Bear will show you right there. What that is, ladies and gentlemen, take a look, put together by our guy, Sean Anderson, with the video stills. That looks absolutely awesome, by the way.
Great stuff by Sean. Thank you, buddy.
All right. So we're going to start with the number 1 seed. That is the Hogan heel turn versus the number 16 seed, the AEW Brody Lee tribute show. This one, I knew who would win, but I didn't like who I had to pick because of what he was going against.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those when I was putting the lists together, I had the Brody Lee much higher when I started, but then as you start going through, you're like, ugh. And then I put it up against the Hogan heel turn. I was like, well, thanks for coming out. I mean, that was a real emotional special night.
It was, yeah.
You could tell how much people loved and cared about Brody Lee, but I mean, like the Hulk Hogan heel turn bash at the beach, 1996.
You go to hell, Hogan. You go straight to hell.
That's probably the most shocking wrestling moment ever.
Dude, the ring just littered with garbage. Yeah. Hogan calling you idiots. Like, it was crazy.
He's raised the bar for heel turn.
Yeah, man.
And even as good as Cena was, no one's even come close to that.
It was perfect. It was, honestly, it really was. Hulk Hogan's a piece of crap. But it was perfect.
Hulk Hogan, perfect. Again, let's preface this because Hulk Hogan's going to be on this list a lot.
Yes, as he should be.
Hulk Hogan, the character, I can get down with. Terry Bollea, the human being.
That's how that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that goes.
We're separating art from human here.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's a win for sure. Jay, Mario, and Sean all agree.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan moves on to that next round.
I mean, Hulk Hogan, that moment should be there. To me, that is the number 1 seed of the entire tournament.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Not just of the region, but of this.
The whole thing. That's your pick to win it.
That's spoiler alert. I'm probably going to vote for that every time it comes up.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. That would be CM Punk's return to the WWE at the 8th seed. And then against the 9th seed, DX blows up Vince's bus. I mean, I love the bus being blown up. Like anytime it's explosions and I'm a kid looking at that on the screen, is really cool to see. CM Punk's return is something that will be seared into my brain because I remember everything about that moment and where I was and who I was with. I was hanging with my mom, and I just remember everything about it and just how they teased it with the show going off, and then they hit the music, and then the eruption in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah, and then you throw in all the history and all the the social media posts and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, as much as I love a good DX prank, I'll have to go with the CM Punk as well.
All right. And we are all 2 for 2.
All right.
Everybody is on the same page. That is another one. Moving on.
It's going to get a little tougher, though.
It's oh my God. Is it?
Starting with this one.
All right. And you're right. The number 4 seed, Eddie Guerrero, wins the WWE title versus number 13. Shawn Michaels puts Marty Jannetty through the barber shop window. Oh, I hate this.
I hate it.
I hate this so much.
I love Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, man.
That was such an awesome moment. Mm-hmm. Well deserved. But Shawn Michaels, that moment where he turned on Marty Jannetty and kicked him through the window. I mean, that was like, I was at such an impressionable age.
Yes.
That just and that launched his career. Unfortunately, with Eddie Guerrero, there wasn't a whole lot of time left after he wins that title. Yeah. But Shawn Michaels doing the barbershop thing, that turned him into a superstar. And the rest is, as they say, is history. He went like his Hall of Fame, march to the WWE Hall of Fame, and on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling started with that moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So as great as Eddie was, that moment was more important and cooler in my 12-year-old brain. So I'm gonna vote for the Shawn Michaels.
Eddie Guerrero's moment was magical. That's another guy who you knew deserved the title, but you didn't think would get the title.
Right.
And then to get it in the style of how his character got it, and then just the eruption, and then the party after that happened on that next SmackDown was amazing. Like, he was truly deserving. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, till this day, when I see him throw him through that window, I am still concerned that glass hanging over the top is going to fall and cut him in half. And I'm serious when I say, to this day, I still look at it and say, ooh, that glass going to fall. Like, this didn't happen like 30-something years ago. It set off everything, especially for Shawn Michaels. Yeah. If you want to talk about top heel turns, like, that's got to be in your top 5 at least. It was amazing. It was outstanding. Like, I really don't have any other words for it, because I hadn't seen that level of brutality, you know what I'm saying, in wrestling, where you throw somebody through a plate glass window and say, hey, I truly hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like this. So I would pick that. I'm going to go with that. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with
I think we have our first upset.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Jay voted against that moment.
Jay did not, and Sean did not. Mario did.
Okay.
Mario went with Eddie, and I'm not mad at him, but I got to go with that, man.
We have our first upset.
Yeah, we've got our first one. First of many, I think. Oh,
probably,
my goodness.
Yes.
This is awesome. This is awesome. All right, let's move on. The number 5 seed, Mike Tyson, turns on DX against the number 12 seed, Owen Hart, versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10. So Mike Tyson one was great because he was the uber star. You know what I mean? At that point in time. And him coming into wrestling was a huge deal.
Right.
And then him coming in and then having Stone Cold show up, and then they fight, and then Vince just in Stone Cold, you ruined it. You ruined it. It was the best, man. But then, you know, him getting with DX, you know what I'm saying, setting that up because he was a special guest referee. But then him turning, you know what I'm saying, on him by actually knocking out Shawn Michaels like this was amazing to see, and like just really, really fun to watch, and basically started, you know, the Stone Cold era. So it was a huge moment in wrestling, man. Like, WWE was always known for getting those stars, and there was no bigger star at that time than Mike Tyson. Man, but that Owen and Bret Hart match, bro. Like, I know why you put that on. Like, just the match alone.
The match was great, and the fact,
God,
the fact that it ended the way it ended, nobody saw that coming, made it even better. Talk about guys getting what they deserve.
Boy, you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied about this. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson's turn on this one. I think it just set up Austin's whole everything.
I mean, if you listen to like Eric Bischoff saying that when he saw that they got Tyson, he knew WCW was in trouble. I mean, it was a huge moment. But that being said, I gotta go with Owen versus Brett. That's so good. I watched like that WrestleMania as a whole was pretty lousy, but that match just was so good, so good. And the fact that it was Owen that went over, and then he got to do the whole, well, I beat my brother, and now he's the champion. Because you remember Bret Hart went on and had a second match that night.
He did,
and so it was just done so well. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Owen versus Bret.
Okay, Mario is going with me as far as Tyson, but Jay and Sean are going with Owen versus Bret. So Owen versus Bret. We'll be moving on. That is your other upset, ladies and gentlemen. The number 12 seed moves on. Oh, God, this is so much fun. All right. The number 6 seed, the debut of one Y2J in the WWE against the number 6 seed, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37. Both of these moments meant something to me. So the Y2J I thought was a brilliant thing, how they set that whole thing up. Nobody knew what the hell that was. They just saw the clock. And then for it to drop in the middle of the Rock segment when he was fish grease at that time. Yeah. So to drop it in the middle of that just brought everybody's eyes, because your eyes are already there because the Rock was doing something. But then the clock runs out then, oh, we're watching this. And then Y2J comes out. Oh my God. And then the promos that started, he and The Rock going back and forth on the mic. These are the two of the best ever on the microphone. It was gold, man. It was gold and so well done. Bianca versus Sasha Banks. As I told you, like, it is just vitally important because it was the first time that two black people have ever headlined at WrestleMania, let alone black women, but just black people that headlined ever at WrestleMania. And that moment, right before the match started, when those two young ladies looked at each other and understood what the moment was and what it meant, and you saw them just nodding their head and smiling, and you saw Bianca almost tearing up because they understood how huge this moment was and what it truly meant to wrestling in general, man. Like, that kicked me in the old ticker right there, man. So I'm going to go with that because it evokes an emotion out of me. And I just understood just the importance of it. But, man, this is like winning by one, honestly, dog. Because that Y2J Rock segment was stupid great.
Yeah, I loved Prime Chris Jericho, that era Jericho. And I was there. That happened at the Allstate Arena. And being there when it happened was just so cool. And, the way you talk about the Belair Banks, it was super special. Like, I think you convinced me to change my vote.
Oh, snap.
Because we're doing moments. Yeah. And that's a really important moment.
Yeah, it was.
The Y2J was fun and it led, but like he had so many more moments.
Yeah, he did.
And so as far as like importance, I'm gonna go. You convinced me.
All right.
I'm changing, and I'm gonna go with the 11th seed here with the Bianca and Sasha match.
All right. Well, I said it was like losing by one, and Bianca and Sasha lost by one because Jay, Sean, and Mario all go with Y2J.
Because you didn't make your presentation for that.
Fair point. But hey, I'm not mad at that loss at all. I'm not mad at any of this. This is all fun. All right.
Well, that means I can vote for Y2J in the second round now.
Yes. All part of his plan. The number 3 seed, Stone Cold versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. And the number 14 seed, Shawn Michaels retirement match versus The Undertaker. It's WrestleMania 26. Am I correct?
That was the second of the two matches.
Yes, it was. Oh, man. I'm going to let you start with this one. I feel like you got stuff to say.
I mean, we're going to talk about Undertaker, Shawn Michaels again here shortly. This one was, the streak versus the career. Wasn't as good as the first match. Stone Cold versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. The blood pouring in.
It's ripping.
Iconic. Like that became, like you talk about Stone Cold, Steve Austin, being born with the Mike Tyson stuff. This is where it's the Stone Cold. And like the whole Bret Hart, America versus Canada stuff was so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was just an iconic match.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like the fact that they got in trouble for it because that was during a no blood, time.
Yeah.
And I believe Bret Hart has Stone Cold signed and autographed a picture of that moment.
Wow.
And then put the blade he used to cut himself in the frame with it. And it's at Bret Hart's house. I believe that's true.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I got to go with Stone Cold Bret Hart. That is just, is about as iconic as you get, especially for the way that the WWE was turning at the time. They weren't Attitude Era yet, but that was a step to get them there.
Yes. Everything he just said, yes. Jay, Sean, and Mario all agree. That's the one that shall be moving on. Man, that was awesome. You're right, man. That iconic. He passed out. Like they made it seem. He even made him more of a badass because of it.
Exactly.
Like, okay. What do we have? Oh, the number 7 seed, Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania 25, against Brian Pillman. Pulls a gun.
Nope, you skipped one.
Oh, excuse me. Against Mick Foley, entering as the 3 faces of Foley in the Royal Rumble, which was awesome. Mankind, Dude Love,
and Cactus Jack.
Jack. Bang, bang.
It was so much fun.
Oh, man. So much fun. Well, you know how I feel about Charlotte Flair. I think she's the greatest ever. And I thought that match, she did a great job. And I'm not taking away from Ronda Rousey either in that match. I thought she really did a great job.
But you knew Charlotte was going to have to carry that.
Yes.
She was going to have to make Ronda Rousey look like $1 million.
And she $2 million.
I mean, that's a Flair family tradition.
Yeah.
Is making mediocre wrestlers look great.
Man,
that's what they do.
Man, made it look like $2 million though. It was amazing. So, but I got to go with Mick Foley because that, for the hilarity of it, was just awesome to see. And for me, wrestling over the years have had a bunch of pull back the curtain kind of moments. And for me, that's a pull back the curtain kind of moment. We all in on the joke, but then they just said, all right, guys, we know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because the Rousey Flair the moment was important because it was the first time you had a women's match as a main event at WrestleMania.
Correct.
Which...
Again, Charlotte Flair
is why it's on the list. It's not on the list because the match was great. It's on the list because of what it represented.
Correct.
I can't vote against the 3 faces of Foley. I love Mick Foley. He's like the everyman of pro wrestling. So
this is true.
I'm gonna go with Foley too. I'm guessing that it's probably a 5-0 win.
I mean, it takes something special for me to vote against Charlotte Flair, and I think that's special. It's actually a 4-1 win as Sean and Mario went with the faces of Foley, but Jay went with Ronda versus Flair. Not mad at him at all. The final one of the bracket of the Roddy Piper region, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, once again, WrestleMania 25 against Brian Pillman, as I stated, pulls a gun on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, Sarah, that actually happened.
Yeah, that was quite the thing.
Real gun?
Yes. Yeah. In his house. It was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was.
It was wild.
They got in trouble for that.
That was so wild and so random at that time.
They were setting up the loose cannon, and it doesn't get much looser.
Don't get much loose of a cannon than that, bro. That was just wild. But for me, that Undertaker Michaels match is what kind of does it for me because WrestleMania is about those huge moments, and nothing was huger than the streak at WrestleMania at that time, man. And if it was anybody at that time who we like, oh, Shawn Michaels could do this. And this is Mr. WrestleMania we're talking about. So the match they put on.
I mean,
damn.
It's maybe one of the best top 5 matches, not WrestleMania matches, just
matches.
I mean, if you've never seen that match, go find it and just watch that. That is what a big time pro wrestling match should be. It's so good. Such good storytelling.
So good, man.
I mean, as fun as and memorable as the Brian Pillman stuff was, there's no way it can't even carry that match's jockstrap right now. So yeah.
All right.
It's Taker Michaels to the second round.
Jay and Sean agree with us. Mario went with Brian pulling the gun, which again, I'm not mad at. The man pulled a gun. Like, it was crazy. That'll do it for the Piper region. Let's move on to the Dusty Rhodes region. Thank you, Sarah. There it is right there. Let's start with the first seed, The Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in a Cell against Stone Cold and Booker T in the Supermarket Brawl. The reason I like this matchup is because Undertaker, man, is like Duke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, hey, man, come on. If you're going to have a match, like give them something, you know what I mean, an actual matchup. That's an actual matchup because Stone Cold against Booker T is an iconic moment.
Stone Cold Booker T started when I started all this at like a 10 or 11 seed, but then so many other things started popping up and it just unfortunately fell to a 16 seed. It's such a fun segment, but I mean, again, you talk about iconic moments. That Foley, I mean that match is getting its own episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes, that's how awesome it is. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
but man, Taker and Foley, bro. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's going on a long run here.
Yeah, bro.
Like, I'm not voting. I'm not voting against it in this matchup, and probably not for a while.
Yeah, and nobody voted against it in this one either.
That was your ease. That was your free bingo.
There's your freebie. That was the time to make a quick beer run right there. But no disrespect to the Stone Cold Booker T match because I still watch that. It was awesome.
All right, it was a lot of fun.
All right, we're gonna take the ultimate at number 8 seed, the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 6 versus the 9 seed Daniel Bryan wins it all at WrestleMania 30. I am curious to see where you go with this one, sir.
The Daniel Bryan was a lot of fun because I remember watching that because that was one of those phases where I kind of like was casually watching wrestling. And then I watched that WrestleMania and I was like, ooh, this is fun. Everybody's into it. The whole yes movement stuff kind of got my attention. Yeah. But Warrior Hogan WrestleMania 6 is like something from my childhood that like changed things. Like those are the two biggest stars ever, two iconic superheroes to kids my age. And the fact that they put Warrior over Hogan and the fact that it was a really good match, like that match even holds up to today's standards.
Which is saying something.
Right. I mean, because you know, everybody knew Warrior was not the greatest in-ring guy. Right. And you can even say the same about Hogan a lot. You know? But the fact that those two guys put on a really entertaining and told a great story, I got to go with Warrior Hogan.
I'm going to agree with you because you just swayed me because I honestly was thinking Daniel Bryan, but you're right. I remember just how it was literally like two superheroes going at it, like two Avengers.
Nothing like that had ever happened before.
Ever.
You never had two good guys going against each other.
Intercontinental, world titles, champion versus champion. They came to the ring on the rings that were carrying them there. Ultimate Warrior was my guy. You know, I was a kid, makeup running around. It's awesome.
Another guy that you separate character from human.
Yes, right. Without a doubt, my God. But yes. I'll say that's gonna win it. Sean and Mario both voted for Daniel Bryan, but Jay voted for Hogan Warrior.
Notice the young guys.
who
went with Daniel Bryan were the graybeards who lived through that.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So that was a ageist bracket right there.
Hey man, prove us wrong. That's what I'm saying. The points is valid.
Being alive for those moments makes a difference.
It's true. Shout out Michael Jordan. Sarah watched The Last Dance. The number 4 seed, John Cena turning heel versus the number 13 seed, DX Nation of Domination parody. For me, it's definitely John Cena because again, this was Hogan, their Hogan, new Hogan,
right?
Kind of turning heel. That Nation Domination parody was a moment for sure. The black person, it rubbed me a little differently.
It's definitely not something you could do today.
I saw that bizarre. I'm like,
it's definitely not something you could pull off today.
I was like, okay, I let the Croc go, but it was when Mark Henry came. I was like, all right, dog, I don't think I could rock with that. But the Croc was pretty hilarious part of it. But I'm gonna go with the Cena heel turn on this one because that was just no words for it, dude. Like it was just like, damn, kids are crying still about this. Grown men are crying still about this. So yeah, I'm going with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cena heel turn too. The Nation of Domination parody, as problematic as it is today, it was
at that moment.
It was peak DX. It's what they did.
Yeah.
You know,
Cross lines is what they did.
Yeah, but the Cena heel turned out, you know, it's number 4 now. I wonder if we do this again in a couple years, you know, how much higher it goes. We kind of have to let it play out. Or maybe it goes lower. Maybe this whole thing turns out to be a dud and you're just like, remember how excited we were about that? And then it didn't go nowhere. So yeah, but I'm definitely going John Cena here.
Okay, everybody agrees. Everybody's going to go with John Cena. Number 5, first WrestleMania against the number 12 seed Eric Bischoff becoming Raw GM. I am going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with Eric Bischoff becoming Raw GM because nobody really saw this coming ever.
Right.
Like Vince McMahon is a man, dog. Like it was one thing about him. He's a businessman who he holds grudges, but doesn't really hold them in terms of this will make us money kind of situation. And Eric Bischoff, when you had beaten the WWE for how many weeks? Was it
83 weeks.
83 weeks. When you've beaten them that long, doing, you know what I'm saying, what they do for 83 weeks and almost putting them out of business, you have nothing but respect for that. And he actually brought him back and said, hey, man, you know what? Here's a job for you. You know what I mean? Since you did that, come on back. Come on, continue entertaining. And he's still involved with the WWE till this day.
Yeah. I'm going to agree. I'm going to vote for the Eric Bischoff just because when it happened, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. The first WrestleMania was very obviously important. Sure. We're still having, WrestleMania has become the greatest thing in pro wrestling. But when you actually go back and watch that first one,
I mean, the final match was awesome. I mean, the Cyndi Lauper was great.
The pomp and circumstance of the final match was great.
Yes.
As a card, as a whole, that card sucks. Like, as far as like the wrestling goes, it's like bottom 3 of all of them.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's up there with the Lawrence Taylor Bam Bam Bigelow WrestleMania as far as being bad. Even though that match is not as bad as it should, but that should not be a WrestleMania main event. But that's a discussion for another podcast.
Okay, another discussion, another time.
That one's not on the list. Spoiler alert. But anyway, I'm going to go with the Eric Bischoff just because of everything you said. And the first WrestleMania really didn't get its, become a huge thing until a couple years later, but that's coming later as well.
Well, the number 5 seed first WrestleMania is going to move on because Jay, Sean, and Mario all selected WrestleMania 1. So WrestleMania 1 is going to move on this one, y'all. This is why we vote. The number 6 seed, Hulk Hogan arrives in WCW against the number 11 seed, Dusty Rhodes, Hard Times promo. Hard times, baby. Hard times.
They give you a watch.
Son of a plumber.
They give you a watch and kick you in the butt on the way out. There's no even debate here. It's Dusty Rhodes.
It's no debate.
No,
I agree with you
because like Hogan going to WCW it was kind of like, oh, that's new. I never thought I'd see that, but it didn't really move the needle like they expected it. Not until the heel turn.
Yes,
that Dusty Rhodes Hard Times promo is Mount Rushmore of wrestling promos. That debate over. Dusty Rhodes.
Well, Jay selected Hulk Hogan. It's WCW, but Sean and Mario both went with the Hard Times.
Because if Hard Times lost here, there's gonna be a strongly worded email sent to those 3 guys.
Craig's all about a strong word email, ladies and gents. All right, number 3 seed, Shawn Michaels retires Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. And the first against the 14 seed, the first TLC match, WrestleMania 17.
It's a tough one.
That's tough, bro.
The emotion
bro, that's
of the ending of that Ric Flair match. With the, I'm sorry, and
I love you,
and that
kicked him in the face.
That was so good. But man, the stuff that the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian were doing in that match, they revolutionized the sport. The stuff you see today, the stuff you see in AEW and on the Indies, that started there.
Yes.
And as we know, Ric Flair really didn't retire. He still wants to wrestle.
He's still a wrestler right now.
I'm going to vote for the upset just because I think what the TLC match did was just change the way things are done, and it kind of added the Daredevil aspect to pro wrestling that it needed at the time. And as good as Shawn Michaels and that emotion at the end.
Oh my God.
I just think, the spear while he's hanging on to the belts off the ladder. I mean, that's an iconic moment.
Iconic. Yeah.
I'm going with the TLC match.
I'm going to go Shawn Michaels and Flair strictly for everything you just said, because that meme is still used today. Of Shawn Michaels saying, "I'm sorry, I love you." Like today, till this day, it's still used.
It's an important moment. Yeah,
Ric Flair getting up and saying, "Come on!" and with tears. Oh my God, dog! Like that was, and then just the way he even pinned him when he kicked him, man. As soon as it hit 3, he just went and he hugged him right there. It was, man, that was a moment.
Emotions.
So Jay and I both went with Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, but Sean, Mario, and Greg going with the TLC match. So
upset. That's a big upset.
That's an upset, ladies and gentlemen. The 14th seed, the TLC match. And Sarah, by the way, TLC means tables, ladders, and chairs. Just to let you know.
Yeah, they weren't wrestling the 90s pop group.
She doesn't know
T-Boz, Chili, and Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls.
She don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay. All right. She's back. She's back.
Yeah.
Waterfalls. All right, sit. All right, number 7 seed, Stone Cold Beer Truck against the number 10 seed. Goldberg beats Hogan for the WCW title. I'm going with the Beer Truck. The number 10 seed, I'm still mad at how it was done, because they could have really made some stupid money on this.
Yeah, they gave it away for free.
Gave it away on Thunder.
On a night.
Thunder.
At the Georgia Dome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right.
But,
well, it was just many. It was one of dozens of missteps that why WCW has been out of business for 25 years.
Yeah.
It's.
No, the Beer Truck was so good that they had to do it again in a different way with Kurt Angle. Like, It was that good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Angle's was incredible too. But yeah, the Beer Truck was phenomenal. And so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with number 7.
I'm gonna go with the Beer Truck too. As cool as the Goldberg thing was, but that was just the begin. To me, that was kind of the beginning of the end of things. And you know, yeah, it was a cool moment at the time. Yeah. Goldberg was hotter than anything ever, but they just kind of I think they call it, like, they slingshotted it. Yeah, is what they call it in the business.
All right.
And you're right. They could have dragged that out for a much longer period of time. So Beer Truck gets it.
Beer Truck. Jay, Sean, and Mario all agree.
All right.
So we're going with the Beer Truck. The final one. The number 2 seed, the Montreal Screwjob, versus number 15 seed, Lex Luger, appears on the first Nitro. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this. It's the screw job. Listen, I get it, what Lex Luger did and how he did it, and coming in, showing up that next night after being on WWE programming, and that was cool, but come on.
No, yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Like,
Lex Luger unfortunately got the bad luck
He
of the
got
draw
screwed.
here.
He got the screw. He got screwed.
He's not beating that matchup. You know, it was a fun moment because it kind of gave, that was the first Nitro, and like they kind of gave the like, hey, we're live.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
But you're not beating the Montreal Screwjob.
You're not beating the Montreal Screwjob.
I'm sure that's a 5-0 win.
Yeah, yes, it is a 5-0 win. All right, let's move on to our third bracket. That would be the Owen Hart region, as Sarah Bear has elegantly put up there on the screen. Let's get into it. The number 1 seed, Hulk Hogan body slams Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 against the number 16 seed. Paul Bearer turns on The Undertaker. For me, this is just like the Montreal Screwjob. This is Hogan slamming the Giant.
Yeah.
Dude, and I mean, it was 70,000 people there at the Silver Dome. And I mean, he slammed him and just sent shockwaves through the industry. It's the best way I can say it. And Hogan was never not the man ever again.
WrestleMania 3 is what made me the giant wrestling fan, no pun intended, I am today.
Well done.
That event, I remember going to my aunt's house because we didn't even have cable at the time, and we ordered it, and we made a whole day thing about it, and just the little rings, bringing them the Steamboat Savage match was insane. You get King Kong Bundy smashing midgets, like it was a spectacle. And then you get the Hogan moment, the win. Yeah, Hogan and Andre, this one's as shocking as Paul Bearer turning on the Undertaker. You never thought you'd see but it.
No
no contest.
We all agree.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees with this. Number 8 seed, Jey Uso quits the bloodline against the number 9 seed, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. Is that WrestleMania?
That's 19.
19? WrestleMania 19. Whew. This one ain't easy. Nope. Kurt Angle, I've tried to make arguments as to why he's the greatest wrestler ever all the time because
you wouldn't have to argue very long with me.
Yeah, no, thank you. But that dude was incredible. Like, he's one of the few I've saw do things that, I mean, he lived up to the billing of who he was, and then took it even further when he left WWF and went to another promotion, TNA, Peak Angle as it's called. But in WWE, man, he and Brock Lesnar, I mean, that match, bro, was really truly special.
Even with the botched move,
yes,
still an incredible, still a great match,
still great, and he lived, which I'm very excited about. Brock Lesnar,
not as excited as he was.
Great point. Jey Uso quitting the bloodline. I mean, I had said, I'm on record as saying that whole storyline should have been nominated for an Emmy. It was that good. Honestly, and that's not even jokingly. It was really, truly that good. And Jey Uso quitting and how he did it and how he left the bloodline was I mean, it was peak. It was peak stuff for that bloodline storyline, bro. And people went crazy. And now look at where Jey Uso is now. They did a great job building him, showing that he could be a main eventer by, going against Roman twice in main events. One at SummerSlam, he had the cage match, the I Quit match, and all that stuff. But yeah, he's the man now, and I think this is what was catapulting him towards that. So, but I'm going to take Lesnar and Angle, man. I'm going to take Lesnar and Angle.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about the Jey Uso, and that was a fun moment. But then he was back in the bloodline, so it kind of like tarnished it a little bit. I'm going to go with the Brock Kurt Angle match. That match was incredible. I mean, we're still talking about it
now.
20 years later, almost over 20 years ago. So yeah, I'm going with Brock and Kurt.
All right. And they'll move on as Sean and Mario both selected that with Jay picking Jey Uso.
Jay's got to stick together.
Jay's got to stick together. The number 4 seed, Brock Lesnar ends the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 30 against the number 13 seed, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha Banks triple threat at WrestleMania 32. That triple threat match is, for me, another reason why Charlotte Flair is, I call it the common denominator. You can't mention these moments without her in there. But damn, that match was phenomenal, man. Yeah. Like a headlining match like that was just absolutely phenomenal. And Becky Lynch, I believe, came out on top in that one. But the streak, bro, like the shock, you know what I mean? Like, again, another moment where I remember exactly where I was and watching grown men turn into, 3-year-olds because they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Just the iconic shot of the young man sitting in the front row whose eyes are bugged out of his head watching it happen. I'm going with that. I gotta go with that moment right there. That was incredible.
I'm actually gonna go with the triple threat match.
Okay,
because I hated the Brock Lesnar ending the streak because why?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay.
It was not necessary.
Okay.
Like, what purpose did it serve going forward? Like, nothing. Like, nothing came out of that. Like, just let Taker be the only undefeated guy in WrestleMania history. Then maybe you could use that down the road and have somebody beat his streak, over how many years, you could start a new streak and it could be something like that. There was no need to end it the way they did. So I hated that whole thing. So I'm going with the triple threat match.
All right.
I'm sure I'm the only one that voted for that.
You are definitely the only one that voted for that. Taker is going to move on. I'm not mad at you at all because, again, incredible match. But yeah, the Brock Lesnar beating the streak is going to move on. The number 5 seed, Ron Simmons becoming the first black heavyweight champion against the number 12 seed, AEW Dynamite's debut. I'll let you speak on this one more so, sir. Well, before I'll speak on Ron Simmons, because I still remember that as a kid when that happened. I was like, he did what? It was unbelievable.
Both great moments. I mean, obviously AEW still around today. Everybody was craving for that competition. And then the Ron Simmons probably didn't have the power it would have if it would have happened maybe later. WCW at that time was kind of a little more regional.
Sure.
but it was still an important moment.
Huge
you know,
moment.
you had
People went crazy.
You had you know, and it was a guy that deserved it. It wasn't just like, you know, here, take this. We want to make this, you know, thing out of it.
No, that's Ron Simmons.
But it was, you know, it was when Bill Watts took over WCW, and Bill Watts, another person that has issues, depending on who you talk to. But he was the guy that made a lot of money with Junkyard Dog down in the old Mid-South territory, and selling out the Superdome in New Orleans with Junkyard Dog on top multiple times. So he knew that, like, hey, if I get, you know, there's something to this concept of like making a black man our top guy, people will support it. And he went for it again. And I've always loved Ron Simmons from even back then, like, you know, the Florida State guy. I loved
Tony Atlas. Yeah.
I loved the Doom tag team with him and Butch Reed when they had the masks on. That was awesome.
Yeah,
even though you knew who they were, they
yeah.
were bad. They were bad MFers, man. They were incredible.
Badass his whole career.
Ron Simmons is one of my favorites of all time for many reasons. So I'm going with Ron Simmons.
Yeah, we'll definitely go. Everybody's picked Ron Simmons on this one. We're going to move through this one a little fast because I know we're up against time. So let's move through it. Sting appears as the Crow as the 6th seed against Kofi Kingston, beats Daniel Bryan. I'm taking Kofi on this one. I was watching it with friends and I watched people cry when it happened. And then just the shot of MVP and I forget my man's name, who he was hugging when they were watching it in a bar and they saw my man from Crime Time.
Oh yeah, I can't think of his name. Yeah, I know.
Find his name because I don't want to disrespect. I don't want to disrespect the dead. God bless him. But watching them hug, man, and the tears in their eyes because Kofi winning, it wasn't Ron Simmons. It wasn't the big hulking guy. This was a B+ guy.
Kofi Mania.
Yes, a B+ dude winning it. It meant everything. That's what I'm going with.
As much as I love the Kofi Kingston, that whole build up to that and him winning it, just the way that they ended it kind of sours it for me. Getting squashed by Brock Lesnar, that just it was like this is like all that build up for that crap, and that's not Kofi's fault. But I love that Sting Crow coming down from the roof. So I'm going to go with Sting because, again, he's one of my all-time favorites.
Mario went with me on Kofi Mania, but Jay and Sean are going with Sting. So Sting is going to move on. Number 3 seed, Stone Cold, bang, 316 with Vince against number 14 seed, CM Punk's AEW debut. I'm going to go with CM Punk's debut.
I am too, actually.
Yeah, I watched dudes cry.
And that was another moment that I was at. I was at the United Center, and I was also in the United Center in 2015 when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup on home ice. It was louder for CM Punk coming out than it was for the Blackhawks winning the Stanley Cup. That was the pop, the power of the pop.
The power of the pop.
I'm going to go with the CM Punk because nobody ever thought he was going to come back to pro wrestling, period.
Yeah.
And then the way they did that, it was perfect.
And then started off the show and they didn't wait.
Exactly.
They were like, here you go, right
and,
here.
you know, the Stone Cold but again, with Stone Cold, it was one of 50 really good segments he had with Vince. So they all can't be the top moments.
It's true. It was a great one, though.
Yeah.
It looks like Jay and Sean both went with Stone Cold versus Vince, but Mario went with CM Punk's AEW debut. And since we both go with it, CM Punk gets the upset. CM Punk's AEW debut moves on. Number 7 seed, Seth Rollins turns on the Shield versus number 10 seed, the aforementioned Kurt Angle Milk Truck. That Kurt Angle Milk Truck was awesome. It was amazing. It was like Kids Bop. You know what I mean? It was like taking a song that, you know what I mean, with all the cursing and then just turning down the curse a little bit, but the song is still banging. It was that for Kurt Angle. And it fit him perfect.
It was tough for me because I either wanted this moment or the Sexy Kurt segment where he's that's so good. I loved Kurt Angle and this era Kurt Angle, especially like the small cowboy hat, Stone Cold Kurt Angle. It's so good. But man, it's the Seth Rollins turning on the Shield. That again is iconic. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah. And it really launched the solo careers of all 3 of those guys. So I'm going to go with the Seth Rollins.
All 3 of the guys, Jay, Sean, and Mario, agree. And I am definitely going with Seth Rollins on that one. I love the milk truck, but come on. Yeah. They still eating off of it right now. Right. Yeah. So it was great. The number 2 seed, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in the ladder match at WrestleMania 10 against Ric Flair wins the Royal Rumble for for the WWF title. I hated you so much for putting these things together. These are two of my top 5 moments in wrestling, bro.
Again, the Flair Royal Rumble was one of those ones that started up higher as I was building it and unfortunately kept falling. I hate this matchup too.
With a tear in my eye. Oh my God. But that match was one of those matches that I still talk about now because I saw it as a kid and knew then that I saw something really great. And I'm like, I'm sure nobody's going to listen to a little kid talk about, but I knew what I was looking at was something really, really special. And that was a special, special match. And still, I feel one of the greatest matches ever that has ever occurred in wrestling history, man. But we're talking moments. And I got to go with Ric Flair, man. Because that's a moment when the whole segment after when he was talking and speaking was an entire moment with Mr. Perfect standing behind him.
Bobby Heenan was
right there behind him.
That's greatness.
It was spectacular. I'm going with that. I'm going with Rick.
I'm going to go, as much as I love that Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels match, I'm going to go with the Ric Flair too. Go for the major upset here.
Jay, Sean, and Mario all went with Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels.
All right.
That's what's moving on.
It's a tough one. I hate that Flair Royal Rumble's out in the first round, but the people have spoken.
People have spoken. All right, we're approaching the final bracket, ladies and gentlemen, the first round, the Eddie Guerrero region. Let's get to it. The number 1 seed, Stone Cold 316 promo against the number 16 seed, Sting versus Hulk Hogan at Starrcade 97. Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass.
Yeah, we don't have to.
We ain't got to go into this.
5-0 next.
5-0. He is correct. Number 8 seed, Shane McMahon appears on Nitro against the number 9 seed, The Rock's This Is Your Life. The highest rated segment in Raw history. I loved it. I'm a huge Rock fan. It was amazing. Shane showing up on Nitro was huge, but watching Vince talk his crap that entire show is what it was for me, more so than Shane showing up on Nitro. Because then I knew the story was on. Before Vince, the story wasn't on. Vince was just talking crazy.
Right.
But I got to go with The Rock. This Is Your Life, man. I'm supposed to be like 10 minutes. They went 30.
Oh, yeah.
It killed it.
People lost paychecks that night because their segments were cut. I'm going to go with The Rock as well, only because of how badly they dropped the ball with the WCW angle. Yeah. And then, again, that necessarily wasn't their fault either. A lot of guys had guaranteed contracts. They decided to just sit at home and get paid. Can't get mad at that. Yeah. So I'm going to go with The Rock.
All right. It looks like Jay picked The Rock. Sean and Mario both went with Shane on Nitro. So The Rock is moving on, the number 9 seed in a slight upset. Number 4 seed, Cody Rhodes finishes the story versus the number 13 seed, Kevin Nash, ends Goldberg's streak. I'm going to go, Kevin Nash's was hilarious, but I'm going to go with Cody finishing the story, man. That was just the way it happened. And the way it ended and the way it all broke down was how wrestling is. You know what I mean? Just the spectacle of it. I know they really wish they could have got Stone Cold to be that one, but the Undertaker still being that one to deliver that chokeslam was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved even Michael Cole hitting finish the story. I love Samantha Irvin choking up. I still miss you. You're the greatest ever. She was amazing choking up, announcing the winner, everybody coming down just to salute him. I thought it was just an amazing moment, and so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cody, too. I mean, the Nash Goldberg thing, it was kind of silly. Mm-hmm. The build-up to that match was awesome, but then the finish was kind of lame with the cattle prod, and then the next night they do the stupid finger poke of doom, and that was all she wrote for WCW. So Cody finishing the story has definitely got the nod there.
And Jay, Sean, and Mario all agree. Moves on. Number 5 seed, The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 17 against the number 12 seed, Chris Jericho becomes the first ever undisputed champion. Man, when we're talking moments, they don't really get much bigger than that Rock and Hogan thing, man. Them two dudes, bro, like, and the way Rock carried him also, and the way Hogan, hulked up and the crowd just bananas.
The way it started, it was Hogan was the heel and Rock was the baby face. By the end of the middle of the match, they had turned organically. Nothing by what they did. Yes. They let the fans book it. again, as I said earlier, as much as I love Jericho, man, that Rock Hogan, that is a sneaky number 5 seed that could cause some damage.
Could cause some damage in there. And Jay, Sean, and Mario all agree. Rock and Hogan's moving on. Number 6 seed, Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. And that's going against the number 11 seed, CM Punk's Pipe Bomb promo. Now, if I recall, that is the one.
17 is I believe the middle of the 3. This is the one where Austin turned heel.
Yes.
And joined Mr. McMahon to win the title. Yeah.
Yes, correct. It was a good moment, but man, that pipe bomb resonated through everything. I'm talking about when wrestling goes outside of wrestling and it starts showing up just on random people's stuff and shows, and they're talking about it. Like, dude, is this real? Like,
anytime you can blur the line of scripted, or you can't tell the difference if he's being honest, or if he's reading from a script, those are the best moments. I'm gonna go with CM Punk too.
All right,
it's an iconic promo.
Iconic promo, bro. Jay and Mario win with Austin versus The Rock, but Sean goes with the Punk pipe bomb. So the Punk pipe bomb is going to move on. The number 11.
We're in Chicago. CM Punk's going to win a few games there.
I think so. The number 3 seed, John Cena, returns to win the 2008 Royal Rumble against the number 14 seed, Sergeant Slaughter, turns his back on the USA. It was Cena for me. Just the way it happened. You know, Triple H in that ring and everybody, then that music hits, the explosion of the crowd. Sergeant Slaughter turn, it is a moment. It's a thing because it's Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And it was at the height of the Iraq War, and just it was well done.
It was.
It was shocking as a kid to be like, I can't believe it. Not as shocking as when I later in life learned that Sergeant Slaughter never served a day in the military.
How dare you?
Part of my childhood died.
G.I. Joe. He was on G.I. Joe.
I'm going to go with Cena because, you know, to pull off a surprise in the internet age where nobody knows it's happening is really, really hard to do, and they did that night. That was a great moment.
Great moment. Number 7 seed, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in the Iron Man match in WrestleMania 7 against the number 10 seed. Evolution turns on Randy Orton. This is tough. This is tough. I'm going to go with Evolution turning on Randy Orton, though. Ooh, that's tough. I didn't even feel good saying that, but that's what I'm going to go with.
I'm actually going to agree with you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. With me.
Because, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, they've got a ton of great moments.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And it's not even the best of either of their careers. Yeah. But that moment put Randy Orton on a different level. Yeah. The whole thumbs up, thumbs down. Batista gives him the Batista bomb.
Sure did.
That put Randy Orton from the young upcoming kid to and launched him to being the Hall of Famer he is today. So I'm going to go with the Randy Orton.
I agree with you. But Jay, Sean, and Mario do not agree with us.
Who asked those guys to vote?
The Shawn Michaels and Hart Iron Man match at the number 7 seed will move on.
I don't like it.
All right. Hey, beauty of the bracket. The final one of the top 64 moments. This is the last one here for you guys. The number 2 seed, Scott Hall, interrupts Nitro versus the number 15 seed, Sami Zayn, turns on the Bloodline. Again, cinema, anytime we're talking about the Bloodline and what they did. But Scott Hall, walking on Nitro, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Like, that's it, bro.
It changed wrestling.
Yes, correct.
It changed wrestling.
Correct.
And it's one of my favorite moments of all time. This better be a 5. As much as I loved Sami Zayn and that was cool, this better be 5-0.
It's 5-0.
Okay.
5-0 sweep. That's going to do it for the first round of the bracket.
It was a long-winded episode.
Long-winded.
But worth it.
Very worth it. It will be shorter next week.
Sarah's fell asleep 20 minutes ago.
Oh, man. But we'll be doing this again next week when we'll get to that round of 32. And, yeah, this was fun to do. Just sit here, reminisce, and talk about these great moments in wrestling. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And when it's time to vote for that Sweet 16, we'll be up on our Twitter platforms. We'll figure out which ones who's going to do it first.
You could probably throw that into the Die Hard discount too. We'll
damn right.
We'll count those votes too.
Absolutely, we will.
Get those burner accounts ready and vote early and vote often.
Yes, become a Die Hard, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Cubs channel right now. Off your just looking for Cubs only. Subscribe right now. Enjoy our guy Cody. Enjoy our guy Stuckey, and enjoy Sarah the Sarah Bear, doing her production thing on the show. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for wanting this. We're going to have an announcement for you next week.
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Biggest one in this show's history.
You got that right. Stay tuned to find out what it is, y'all. Special advocate Greg Boysen, Big Dave, CHGO Bulls. Love y'all. Appreciate you. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.